Good afternoon, everybody. As most of you know, it's that time of year where we have to start looking at year-end processes, 1099s, and some do and don't tips for your year-end close. There's a lot of information on these slides, so make sure and ask any questions, and we'll answer them at the end. So when we talk about year-end processes, we have a lot of stuff to complete before we do it. We need to complete our customer shipments, including our drop shipments. We have to make sure that all receipts are recorded from suppliers. Receipts and customer shipments are extremely date specific, so we want to make sure that we get all of them recorded before year end. It's hard to backdate these, and so we want to make sure that we get them all in before December 31st. We need to make sure that all materials are entered to jobs, including sub-assemblies. We need to make sure all inventory transactions, such as transfers, intercompany transfers, and any physical cycle counts. It's better to do the physical cycle counts before year end. You can backdate these. It sometimes causes some issues, so I would encourage you to try to get all of those in before December 31st. Complete your bank reconciliations. Obviously, you won't be able to do that until after the first of the year because you'll be waiting from the bank getting your statements. Make sure that you book your last payroll of the year and book any journal entries. This would include anything like any kind of a reserve that you need to make, any kind of a reversing entry that you'll need to make to accrue for payroll for the end of the year. After we get our task completed, we need to start reviewing the information out of the system. I would encourage you to start looking at this even as early as the end of November, beginning of December. When I used to do a fiscal year-end close, it became nothing more than a traditional month-end close because I would review all of this information ahead of time, make any corrections, so that all I was doing was looking at the December financials. So let's make sure that we publish that inventory WIP reconciliation report for non-posted transactions. We want to look at the WIP report, close any completed jobs. So that is both complete and close. Remember, complete means that the job is completed for the shop floor, which means that they cannot post anything. Closed means that the journal entry will now be posted. Run your receive not invoice, including prior years. This is a big shock for people when they run their prior years and they have not done the cleanup process. The system is still saying that you have open entries. So if you have not done a receive not invoice prior year report and made sure that everything looks clean, it will not balance to your general ledger account as receive not invoice as a subledger. Look at quality insurance. Make sure that everything for quality is handled, inspection pending, DMRs, RMAs. They all post to the ledger and we want to include them all in the current year. Next, analyze and book any entries. So enter all your final journal entries. This will be done after the first of the year. Again, book your payroll accrual. Double check your review journal and make any necessary corrections. This is a common mistake that happens, that people forget to review to look at the review journal, and we tend to have entries that are sitting out there that never got booked, and it would require a prior year correction. Next, as part of your year end, and this you can do this in November, just like I said, to catch up for the year, but this becomes your year end process for printing these reports. These are your sub ledgers. So run your stock status report. Purchase, it should equal raw materials in your general ledger. Manufactured should equal semi-finished and finished goods. Make sure that if you have anything non-nettable that is not included, financial information on the balance sheet, that you run the report accordingly. I would suggest create an Excel export of the full report just so that you have the information, because stock status does move as people put in transactions, and that way you'll have your stake in the ground for analysis. Run your WIP report. That's the subledger for your WIP inventory. Manufactured will give you your finished goods. They will be included in your WIP report if you have not completed and closed all of your jobs. So that's why that's important to do that. The WIP report, again, is your subledger for your general ledger accounts. Run an in-transit inventory report. Where is your inventory? If you use in transit, so you're just transferring from warehouse to warehouse, you want to make sure that this doesn't drop off your financials. Run your DMR and RMA reports. Run accounts receivable and advanced billing deposits. You can, if you have two separate accounts for the advanced billing and one for advanced deposits, then you can run two versions of that and just select billing or deposit. Run your accounts payable and your received not invoiced. At this point, received not invoiced will include some transactions for prior months. So make sure that you run the appropriate months for that report so that you collect everything and it balances to your general ledger. Run a trial balance and make sure that you are in balance. Normally, we would have that checkbox checked in system management that says you can't do an out of balance journal entry. Occasionally, entries get stuck in the review journal, or occasionally the system won't post something, so we want to make sure that we're in balance. Financial statements, you can run those out of Epicor if you are using Financial Report Designer. You can run them in Excel if that's what you're using to do your financial statements. And if you're using FP&A, you can run your financial statements out of there and make sure that everything is in balance. The next thing we want to take a look at before we get to all the final stuff for the year is our tax tasks. We have to do our W-2s. If you're running payroll out of Epicor, make sure that you run them from Epicor, print them in-house, completing all your required forms, because obviously you can't just run a W-2, you have to run the tax reports as well. Mail your forms to your employees, and you can, in fact, use the IRS for some of this too. You can use Epicor to create a flat file and upload it to Social Security and any required states, and or you can print the forms from Epicor and mail them to the Social Security Administration and anything that you need to run for your states. If you're doing an external payroll, follow the payroll provider instructions for W-2s and government reports. They may even import all of that information right to the government. Once you've run all your reports, everything's in balance, then we need to close the period or year. We would close the GL period at the December. It will automatically know that you're entering a new fiscal year. The only exception is if you do 13 period in your financials. I don't recommend a 13th period unless your auditors or accountants require it. We can reopen the year if we need to make journal entries in the past. If you if you do have a 13th period, then you have to close both the December and the December period 13 in order to close for the year. Next, go in the system. There's a button under General Ledger that talks about transferring balances to next year. You will not get a balance sheet beginning balance unless you do this transfer balances to next year. You can run transfer balances at any time. You could even run transfer balances on January 1st and then again on January 15th. And everything will apply correctly, but you won't be able to see those opening balances till you run that. Make sure that you adjust your earliest apply date. Some of you are probably not using this earliest apply date. I highly recommend it. It's a way to keep people out of your general ledger and to not complete transactions from a prior period. The one cautionary tale is if you use this date and you do put it in for December 31st, then you may have to open the earliest apply date if you have entries to do after the fact, and then apply it again. Run all your final financial statements, your balance sheet, your income statement, statement of cash flow, and your final trial balance so that you have those. Generally, people do the statement of cash flow outside of Epicor, but you can in fact create it in Epicor if you so desire. Next is that awful thing called 1099s that everybody hates doing. I would recommend that if you haven't used 1099s in Epicor, that you think about using it in the future. In the past, Epicor, this has been very painful process, but now, as long as you're up to date with all of your patches, you should be able to run this fairly seamlessly out of Epicor. I've worked with several companies in the past few months getting their 1099 information up to date. If you'd like us to walk you through that, we can. But the basic steps are we have to make sure that the date in company configuration is for the year that we're producing the 1099s. We need to verify the tax boxes and minimums for all 1099s. Again, I understand, I've been told that the new minimum is not going to be $600. It's going to be $1,000. Please don't take tax advice for me, but make note of it. And if you are using the 1099 module, make sure that the minimums are set up according to the $1,000 rule. And again, verify that information because as we know, the government keeps changing dates to apply those kind of changes, and we want to make sure that you're doing your 1099s correctly. And the 600 or the 1,000 means, if you're not familiar, it means that you wouldn't run a 1099 for any transaction summary that's under $600 or under $1,000. So this may eliminate even more of your 1099s. My experience from some of our customers is that they're only running maybe 10 to 15 1099s. This allows you to not have to rekey. And in fact, you can actually upload to the IRS fairly easily. And we would love to help you get all of that organized. Again, they're due February 15th, and obviously that can vary by year based on when the 15th of the month falls. So do nots. We've talked about do's. What should you do? Do not or donut wait until the last minute. Donut do the task list from memory. I can't tell you how many times I had my staff try to do stuff from memory, and we usually would miss something along the way. So make yourself a list for the month-end task list and check them off and make sure that they're all done. Do not forget to update your procedures as they change. Year over year, you might have more journal entries to do. A good one to remember is like when we went to ROU asset recording, that was a problem for a lot of companies. They forgot to do that, and then they closed their books and didn't have the ROU entries done. So make sure that you update those procedures as they change. And finally, do not forget to breathe. Year end will be over soon. I promise you, it will be over, and you'll be able to go on to your normal accounting procedure.